Did you know that wind farms and solar farms can work well together? You and I have an insatiable appetite for electricity. Come with me and we'll look at the issues relative to wind farms and the communities that they serve. This is the Windfarm Guy. Hi, this is Dennis Stout, and thank you for joining me for this episode of the Windfarm Guy. Over the last 15 plus years, it's been amazing for me to watch the wind industry and the renewable industry as a whole. Wind and solar as energy sources have come of age, and they can work well together. A previous Windfarm Guy episode dealt with co-location, which is using the two different energies at the same location, like here with wind and solar. Today I want to zero in on those energies when they are not at the same location. More specifically, the electricity generation situation in Texas. Because of the state's varying wind patterns and solar irradiance, it's been found that pairing solar power with West Texas winds or South Texas winds actually increased renewable energy production. But how can this be? Well, let's look at a couple of things. ERCOT is the grid operator in Texas, and their electricity demand peaks in the late afternoon. Some wind farms in Texas are along the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, and they get to enjoy a nice coastal wind which almost matches the demand curve. Unfortunately, the wind in most of the wind farms in Texas don't peak at those times. Rather, they peak later in the evening and early night, say 6 to 10 or so. That means they are underutilized. Optimally, you'd want those two profiles to match. It's kind of a supply and demand sort of thing. When demand goes up, you'd want the supply to go up too. And when demand goes down, supply would go down as well. Unfortunately, that is not the reality for wind and solar individually. However, a recent Rice University study suggests that Texas renewable power could become more reliable by combining the different resources and locations. Seems that when you add solar energy with wind energy to the state's energy mix, a nice little balancing act takes place. Researchers found that pairing solar with West Texas wind farms provides the highest level of firm capacity with an 87.5% threshold. At the time I'm shooting this video, in Texas, wind and solar account for only 22 gigawatts of existing resources, with another 7 gigawatts in late-stage development. But demand for wind and solar energy is huge and getting bigger. Our culture today requires an exponentially growing amount of electricity. How can wind and solar meet this need? Well, wind turbines are getting larger. Each turbine today generating as much as 5 times the electricity that they did just several years ago. As you would imagine, this brings down the price of electricity generation. And solar panels, they've dropped dramatically in price. The price of installed solar is less than half of what it was about 3 years ago. And that price 3 years ago was about half of what it was 3 years prior. So wind farms and solar farms are both getting much more efficient, productive, and economical, making them far more beneficial to the company and to our electricity, keeping our electricity prices down. Their combined potential is enormous. Add to that our focus. The leading renewable energy trade associations just made a goal in June of 2020 to reach 50% renewable energy by the year 2030. If you like what I've said today, be sure and click like and subscribe below. If you have thoughts or want me to address a particular topic relative to wind farms, please leave me a comment as well. The wind industry has been a reality in the United States for decades, and we've been making a positive mark on many rural communities across this great nation. Their impact on the local economy cannot be overstated. The wind industry has literally saved many rural communities that were dying and now have a bright future. And the industry itself has grown and matured and gets better all the time. The more we learn, the better the industry gets. And the more issues we address, the better the industry gets. And combining it with solar energy also makes it even better. This is Dennis Stout, and I'm the Windfarm Guy. Thank you for watching. Working together, we can make good energy decisions and save our planet. I am the Windfarm Guy.